Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Picnic Table and Chat. This is episode 1 of season 3, so massive thank you all to coming back for another episode. Tonight we've got a really awesome interview lined up with Tim from Intrepid Exotics, and I find that really hard to say. You know what my speech is like. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Tim, that would be really awesome.
Hey, man. Hey, it's good to be here. It's really cool to hear from you about sitting down and talk for a little while today.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thank you for coming on, man. It's a real pleasure to actually meet you, and I've been watching your videos for a while, so it's a real pleasure to actually have you on the show.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
as always, I've got some questions lined up for you, so we're just going to jump on in if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fire away.
Brilliant. So when did you start getting into reptiles, and what got you into them?
Oddly enough, I got started with aquariums, marine aquariums and so forth. That was the first, my first real exposure to keeping animals. I spent a lot of time bouncing all over the country and military, so I was like moving every 2 years. So currently I'm in North Carolina, out here in the U.S., of course, and as soon as I kind of got out here and planted roots, and I knew I could put something in one place and not have to move it every 2 years. So I got started in aquariums. That was probably about 8 years ago. Followed through with that for a little while. And, the fish, they're really fun, but you can only play with them for so long before they want to go back in the water.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah. So, probably... I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, we got started with like ball pythons and bearded dragons and so forth, and just had some really unique opportunities to work with some really awesome animals, some unique circumstances with some big constrictors, a lot of reticulated pythons that I took care of for a long time. So it all just kind of snowballed from there to, now I've got the whole herd downstairs.
Yeah, well, we know that feeling. It happens the same in ant keeping. You get one, and before you know it, you've got I've got 37 colonies myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it snowballs, like you say.
Yeah.
So what do you currently keep as a pet?
Well, I've got kind of finite space right here for right now. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot more that I can keep. I've got 2 big reticulated pythons. They're not big by retic standards. One of them's 15 foot and about 65 pounds. The other one is, and you've probably seen them on the channel. And my other female, she's pushing 14 feet and almost 50 pounds. So I've got a couple retics. I've got a adult male Burmese hatchling female that's just been awesome. And got a boa constrictor. I've got my green tree python back here behind me. That I just recently brought into the fold.
Yeah, I really like them. I've wanted one for quite a while, but my wife won't let me.
Really?
Yeah, she says no to snakes and spiders, basically.
Yeah, spiders is where a lot of people draw the line, even with snake people. Yeah, but that's kind of funny because my daughter keeps tarantulas.
Ooh. Yeah, I want one, but like I always wanted one of the Birdie and Goliath ones, the really big.
I had one.
Yeah? Oh,
yeah,
man.
I had one, and it was a female, and she was maybe this big around. She was still growing, but
Wow.
she had a bad molt, and I lost her. She was molting, and I had all her parameters and everything on point. She just had a bad molt, and I came in there one day, she was upside down. No. So
yeah, I mean, it does happen. It's always a shame when that happens.
Yeah.
It's one of them things you just can't help and avoid. Like you say, all the parameters are right. It just happens.
Yeah. There's just, I mean, sometimes things happen that are just unexpected and unexplained, and but yeah, I'll get another one at some point. She was really cool.
Yeah. What else do you keep? Do you keep any other things apart from snakes?
Yep. I've got a 5-foot Nile Monitor here as well. So I'm really looking forward to the warmer weather coming so we can get him outside. He's gotten really rambunctious over the wintertime.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm gonna actually be putting out a good deal of videos of having him out in the backyard playing and stuff like that. It should be really cool. So I've got the Nile Monitor. I've got a couple bearded dragons, a few leopard geckos, crested geckos. I got ball python, jungle carpet python, Florida king snake, and a couple hognose. My black and white tegu, of course. I just took her in before brumation season, so she's been a lot of fun. And I've got a couple of unique things here. One from your neck of the woods. I've got a hedgehog here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, going into that, is that something that's not native around where you are?
It's not.
That's kind of a weird concept for me because they're just like everywhere,
Yeah, I know. And actually, before I got into them, I always thought, when somebody said hedgehog, I thought it was something that was native all over the place. But I didn't know it was mainly Europe where they're at.
Yeah. I mean, so did you have to get that imported from Europe, or did you?
No, there's a local breeder out here.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So we had a local breeder out there for that, and I also keep prairie dogs.
Yes. Okay. Prairie dogs. So are they normal dogs, or are they actually a different thing? Like
they're rodents.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they're rodents, and they're really, really unique animals.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know much about them. I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever seen a picture of them.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Well, at some point here, I'll run into the next room and grab one and bring it in here and just go ahead and bring him out on camera for a little bit. So you can get a look at him. But they're a really unique fact about prairie dogs is I've read a couple things that where they had studied communication between the prairie dogs and compared it to other animals. And there's some people that believe that prairie dogs have the most sophisticated communication.
Wow.
Of any animal outside of human beings. It was really cool to read the study because they would study the noises that they made amongst each other. And a person would walk out wearing a blue shirt. They'd make a certain series of noises. That same person would walk out wearing a red shirt. The only thing that would be different is the one little noise that they made. And it was that way with they could differentiate between a large person or a small person wearing a red shirt, a blue shirt. They differentiate between like domesticated animals and foxes and wolves and things like that.
Wow. So really complex communication.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think I have seen things like that. Maybe there might be a program on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a program about something like that.
Yeah,
I might have seen them on the telly. Yeah,
because I mean that would have been I done a lot of research and stuff getting ready because I put out a video about them and talked about that and kind of put some footage in there of what I had seen because that was another one of those animals that I kind of learned about it as I went. Yeah. My first exposure to prairie dogs was I was helping a person out. This person had some practices I didn't necessarily agree with. One of the practices that he had was he had a pair of prairie dogs in a snake house. Yeah, it wasn't a good situation at all. One of them unfortunately didn't make it, and I was able to get the other one out of there and kind of nursed him back to health and kept him for a good year and a half, almost 2 years. before he passed. But so it was one of those things where I rescued him, and as soon as I did, then I had to go and learn everything I needed to know about him.
Yeah.
It was a lot better than the alternative of just letting him sit there and waste away.
Yeah, of course. Wow. That's quite interesting. Like, was he just someone who didn't know what they were doing, or just had it in a bad situation, or?
Well, you know how they say if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, you don't say anything at all.
To be honest, that's what I always say on these streams. We always try and keep it friendly, and we always say if someone's not here to defend themselves as well, it's not fair to give them digs. You know what I mean?
I mean, if he happens to end up watching this at some point, he'll know exactly who I'm talking about, and he'll know why. But everybody else, I like to try to stay just as pleasant as possible.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So let's carry on with the interview then. What is your absolute dream animal? If you could have anything, what would it be?
I've got a short list.
Okay. I think we all do, to be honest.
Right.
I have a very long list.
Yeah. I mean, I say it's a short list, but it's probably more than needs to be. When I get more space to work with, one of the first things I want to get my hands on is green anaconda.
Wow.
I've always wanted to have the space to do up a proper green anaconda enclosure and get a big female in there and just interact with her. I've got the longest snake species in the world with retics. I want to get the heaviest one too. So, and plus they're gorgeous animals. Absolutely amazing. And if you've seen the melanistic sailfin dragons, and I don't have a picture handy that I could pull up really quick, but look them up. They're really there's a couple that I've seen that are black, and they've got this long dinosaur-like fin that runs down their tail, almost rhino iguana-ish, except they've got a really distinctive snout on them. And the pictures that I'd seen, they've got ice blue eyes.
Wow. Okay.
Gorgeous animals. Definitely something to look up.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I want to do that. I want to get my hands on some false water cobras, because I think those are just really gorgeous animals. But yeah, I mean, as time goes, as I get more room and I can get more animals and so forth, it's gonna enhance what I can put out on the channel, and the situations kind of feed each other,
Yeah. I mean, I always say the same. If I can move to a much bigger place, then the possibilities are endless,
Yeah.
But it's all a space issue. I mean, I've got more tanks in here than I probably should. My wife keeps saying, like, there's less and less space in every room. Like, I'm going to move the kids out. I'm going to build an extension, build a garage, get a second house. Whatever it takes,
Yeah, it's the position I think a lot of us end up in. I was that way with my aquariums because you can't, there's so many different species of fish that you can't house together. Yeah. So I had the octopus tank, the seahorse tank, had the predator tank over here with the sharks and stingrays, and a freshwater tank. And so my whole house, every wall was covered in a fish tank somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's like with me with ants. Going into your fish, did you ever do saltwater things? How did you find that? Was it easy or difficult? Because I've been doing a bit with it, but it's not a natural thing for me. Not like ant killing. I found I picked it up really easily.
Right.
With fish, like with saltwater, there's just so much to it, isn't it? Do you find it was a challenge?
Yeah. It was a challenge. I found that, once you get over the learning curve, you get a really good understanding of the nitrogen cycle and some of the ways that you can set the tank up so that it allows for the right amount of bacterial growth in there to balance everything out. And you get just the right amount of, vegetation. It's just all such a balancing act with that in order to make it work pretty much on its own.
That's it.
My predator tank was the hardest one to keep clean because, I had, like I said, California stingrays in there, I had a bamboo shark and a couple different eels. Wow. And those will just rip anything apart that you put inside.
Okay.
They're just so big and so active. So, you've got a finite amount of live rock that you can keep in there. And, they say you're supposed to have a pound of rock per gallon of water, I think it was. And I fell way short on that. So I had a big pump underneath with a lot of bioactive material in there and so forth.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some of the tanks were easier to take care of than others. The things that I had, like the tangs and the, puffer fish and stuff like that in, little fox faces, it was a lot easier to manage the ratio of rock to water in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, it was a big learning curve because I started with, of course, I started with freshwater fish.
Yeah, of course, everyone does. Yeah.
Free fish tank.
Right.
It's exactly how it started. I was doing project management for a construction company, and the lady pointed at this 90-gallon bow front. And she's like, "Oh, that'll be out of here. I'm giving that away."
Right.
I'm like, that's a nice tank. How about if I just give you $50 for it and call it good? And I'll get it out of here. That started it. There's no such thing as a free fish tank.
No. Oh no, because then there's so much more that needs doing with it as well. Yeah. So what is your biggest animal? I'm going to say animal because it includes everything. And what is your smallest? Because I know you've got some insane sized snakes.
Yeah. Well, my biggest snake is my male purple tiger reticulated python. He's 15 foot and about 65 pounds. And he is a workout.
Right. Yeah, that is a hefty snake.
He is. If you've ever handled smaller snakes, like corn snakes and stuff like that, where you pick them up and they're just all over the place and, you're constantly chasing them. Well, he's the same way.
Yeah.
Except he's really big.
Really
and,
big.
So, I mean, he's a workout. So he's my biggest one. And I've got a small, I think my smallest snake is my little male hognose.
Okay.
The little hognose is still really, really small, and he's kind of refusing to grow for me.
Oh. Pound for pound, are snakes really strong? I was just thinking, you say like when they're moving about and stuff, they're all muscle, aren't they? There's not much fat to them. Not generally a lot of fat, but they are all muscle, aren't they?
Yeah. It's amazing how strong of a grip those animals can get on you. I had the opportunity to take care of literally hundreds of reticulated pythons. The biggest ones at this facility was over 20 feet and over 200 pounds.
Wow.
And fortunately, I'd never gotten wrapped up by one of them.
Yeah.
But even still, just managing them, if they're socialized and you manage them right, you can guide them fairly easily and so forth. I mean, one person can handle it if they know what they're doing. If the snake decides it wants to put up a fight or something, they're going to need help. You always need to have more than one person for a big animal like that anyway, just for safety purposes. But, you can manage an animal that size if it's socialized by yourself. Depending on what you want to do. You're not going to pick it up by yourself. No. But the biggest snake I'd ever been bitten and wrapped by was about 16 foot female.
Wow.
And I messed up, misread a food response, and she got a hold of me. And it was instantaneously, she had gotten a hold of my wrist right here.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, she had coils around my arm, around my shoulders and everything. I mean, she just instantly got on there and was just on.
Wow.
All of a sudden, and when it's a mistaken food response, they think they've got prey there, so they latch on like they mean it, and she meant it.
Was that scary? Did you think like, oh, this could be the end, or
no? It wasn't that bad. I've been bitten a couple times. Just working with that many snakes, it happens. I've had some defensive strikes from some males before, and I've been bitten and wrapped a couple times by females. But what I found, and the first time is really a wake-up call. But it's good. I think it's an experience that every snake keeper should have, just so that you know how to manage it when and if it does happen. Because we all make mistakes, and things happen. And especially if you've got somebody else over and you're showing them, you need to know how to mitigate it. Yeah. But for me, as soon as she got a hold of me, the only thing that kept going through my head was keep your chin tucked and don't let her head move.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, keep your chin tucked down so they can't get round your neck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, I was a martial artist for a while too. I mean, that's the first thing you do. You start getting wrapped up like that, your chin goes down, protect your throat. And,
Yeah. I know that from boxing.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and they've got these recurved teeth in their mouth. They've got 6 rows of them. So they've got the row on the bottom, they've got a row on top, and then they've got another row that goes across the roof of their mouth.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, and they're on a bigger snake, they're pretty grisly. So when they get a hold of you, if you try pulling them off, you're going to end up lodging teeth in your hands. It's going to slice you just like a whole bunch of razor blades, and it's going to be really bad. So when you get bit, the first thing you do is secure their head. You make sure, of course, that you've got an airway, that they're not choking you out. But anything big enough that can do any kind of damage, you should have another person there with you anyway.
Yeah.
So like the way we manage bites is, you control a snake's head, get somebody out there to kind of start unwrapping them a little bit. And typically we'd use something like Listerine to shoot down into bits of the mouth. You can use vodka, pretty much anything that's like cold and foul tasting.
Yeah.
Just to kind of snap them out of it and make them realize, oh, this isn't a rabbit.
It tastes horrible. Don't want
that.
Yeah.
So, and once they let loose, as long as you don't manhandle too much, that one, as soon as she released me and we got her unwrapped, I handled her later that day and everything was fine.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, so.
I think the best thing is to get straight back to it, isn't it? Otherwise, you can allow that fear to sort of build.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first time I ever got bit, I still had to continue working with the snakes the rest of the day, and I was gunshot.
I bet. Yeah. So, what's the most painful bite you've ever received?
Oh no, man! I really think it has to be from my Nile Monitor.
Oh, okay.
I think because they don't have the long teeth that the snakes have, but they've just got, it's like these 2 little rows of razor blades in their mouth. And I had him out. I had him out one day. I didn't take the time to really mess with him a whole lot before I picked him up. I just went into his enclosure and picked him up and set him on my shoulder. He crawled up, and then of course, like they do, he crawled up on top of my head, and the next thing I know, he bit my spine.
Wow.
Yeah, he just latched on either side of my spine on the back of my neck and just hung on for dear life.
Wow.
So I was a little nervous the whole time he was on there. Yeah. It took a couple minutes to get him off. It felt like about 3 weeks. But I finally had gotten him off my neck, and he was just, as soon as he came off my neck, he come around and he was upside down on my arm. All 4 legs wrapped around my arm, and I was like trying to knock him off into his tub, into the enclosure. But I mean, that's just, Nile monitors are probably one of the most difficult lizards to work with.
Yeah, I have heard that actually. They're just a nightmare in general.
Yeah. It's just, it's different it's so much different from reading a snake. Snakes, they typically don't shift their mindset, and their body language doesn't really change a whole lot that quickly. For instance, like when you go in and you shut down a feeding response. Once you shut down that feeding response, as long as the snake doesn't get scared, as long as you don't do anything to frighten it, it'll typically stay in that same frame of mind.
Yes.
So it's a little bit easier to trust them. Now, my Nile monitor, I can open up the enclosure and he can come up and really long tongue flicks that you look for and everything, and just be really chill. And then all of a sudden, anything can happen. Catch his attention, he instantly goes up on point. If I move my hand too fast, that food response will kick in and it'll just go after it. and you've got lizard mouth coming.
They're fast as well. They are very fast. I think
Very
is it right they use their tails to sort of like propel themselves forward as well.
in the water, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can throw himself out of the tub because I've got a full size bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's feeding time and I go to the bowl in there, he'll kick that tail and just jump out of it like a dolphin.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is worth filming for YouTube.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm getting ready to do another video with him here in the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Well, I'll be keeping my eyes open for that, definitely.
yeah, hopefully he decides to be nice to me.
So how often do you try and handle your snakes as such? Because I know you try and get them used to you, don't you?
Yeah.
As much as you can. So how often do you recommend people handle their snakes?
You know, it depends on the snake. It really does. Some of my snakes are perfectly happy if I never even look at them.
Okay.
My female hognose, yeah, I can handle her and, take her out and work with her and so forth. But she's perfectly happy if she never has to see me outside of feeding time.
Yeah.
My male reticulated python, he's really energetic and he likes the interaction. So I'll get him out, every week or two, something like that.
Yeah.
My female is just every time I go downstairs, she's right up by the door. Her and my male Burmese are the same way. So I can handle them every day and they'd be perfectly happy with it.
Nice.
And sometimes I do too.
Is the female the 14-foot one?
Yes. Yeah. She's the mildly the greenish looking female.
She is lovely. I watched that video where you were stroking her, and she's so calm and relaxed, and like the way you pick her up, she's just not bothered at all, is she?
Yeah, and that's that's a lot of the stuff. The last couple of years, it's not so much anymore, but you'd see all of the snake bite videos, and you'd see the guys fighting these monster snakes trying to get eggs out from under them and stuff. Yeah, and that just gives so many people the wrong impression of what these animals are like when they're in their natural state. In their natural state, just meaning they're not afraid of anything. Once you've got that relationship built with them, they can be so easy to manage and so easy to work with.
Yeah. No, they look like so cool when you're doing it. I mean, like you say, it all depends on the snake and the keeper. I think how you deal with the situation, not going in there panicking or going in there rushed. I think that was a major point you tried to get across in your videos. It's not just to try and scoop them up. It's to actually spend a bit of time like saying hello to them and stuff first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that applies to most any animal. I mean, even if you walk up to a dog or something like that and it's sleeping and you're really quick and you go in there on it, wake up and startle it. There's no telling what it's going to do. But
yeah, no, you're completely right. Also, you said that the 14-foot is still kind of small for that. Is it a reticulated python? Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what size do they grow to?
I think the biggest one in captivity that I'm aware of is 24 or 25 feet.
Wow.
Something like that.
Wow. So like the length of my house, basically.
Yeah, they and there's always the fish stories. Yeah, you look up largest snake and there'll be all kinds of pictures of, these massive 30-foot monsters and so forth, but nobody can seem to prove it.
Yeah, of course.
But the largest one I personally had my hands on was about 22 feet.
Wow.
And about 220 pounds or so.
Wow, that's a big, powerful animal. Like, so out in the wild, what sort of thing would that take down? Could that take down like an ox, or what would it?
I'm sure young ox, maybe deer, any kind of wild cat. I would think something that big would be able to get. Yeah. Always hear them about them eating crocodiles and things like that, younger ones and so forth. But I mean, once a snake gets that big, I mean, they're an apex predator.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's an interesting dichotomy that they go through in their life cycle, because when they first are born, they're food for everything.
Yeah.
And birds, other snakes, rodents, whatever, anything will eat them. But once they start to get that mass behind them, they're really a force to. Yeah, and it is such a humbling experience to have a 22-foot muscle with teeth on the end of it.
Yeah.
And make friends with it.
Yeah, make friends with it. You don't want to be on the enemy side.
Right. Yeah, it's a really humbling experience, man. They're just amazing animals.
Yeah.
And extremely intelligent, man. Once you get to know a specific animal and you can kind of read its behavior, even some of the ones if you're not familiar with it, but it's really special once you actually know the animal. And I mean, they just you can look in their eyes and all these little subtle differences, and the way their eyes move, the pupils, the way their tongue moves, the way they hold themselves, and you get to the point where you can kind of meld all of that stuff together into kind of picking up on your language.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool thing.
Yeah. You get that connection, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And you really got to have it too if you want to handle them safely, because you got to be able to know what they're thinking.
Yeah, and it's a lot of trust as well. Like you say, they've got to trust you, and you need to trust them, and you're only going to get that from spending that bit of time together, trying to connect.
Yeah, it's really important that the animal trust you, because I mean that's what a lot of people. That's what gets a lot of people bit. Is they just even if it's a socialized animal that they've had, if they do something that's naturally going to frighten it, they'll get hit.
Oh yes. Do you think there's many common mistakes made by new keepers? Is there anything that really jumps out as a common mistake? Overhandling.
Yeah. I think, man, it's kind of hard to nail down. It's hard to nail down a single one. And you see,
there's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you see so many mistakes made. Subtle stuff that people have always got questions about and so forth. I think for new keepers, a lot of the mistakes revolve around trying to compare their snake to every other pet that they've had.
Okay.
You're used to getting up and feeding your fish every day. You're used to getting up and feeding your dog and your cat every day.
Yeah.
You're used to your dogs and your cats and so forth, even rodents and things like that. You're used to seeing some of that affection returned in those animals.
Yeah.
And
you don't get that.
And that's what people will cue in on, to think they've to recognize that good relationship with that animal. Well, snakes are so much different because you're not feeding them every day.
Yeah.
So one mistake that a lot of new keepers will make is overfeeding their animals, getting really stressed out about them missing meals. That's something that you hear a lot. Hear a lot of people, I just bought this ball python and it's been a week and he hasn't eaten.
Yeah.
So they get in that mindset with their other pets that I need to feed this every day.
Yeah.
You got to tone that down now with your snakes and realize that you may feed that animal once and they don't eat for another 6 months.
Yeah.
Which can be really unnerving. So you see a lot of snakes getting overfed. One reason maybe being because of that. Another reason being maybe the spectacle of feeding the snake. Especially at first, people wanting to see it eat and things like that. Before you know it, you've got this obese snake that's, So that's a really common mistake, and you'll see some people making the mistakes of just trying to convince themselves that snake actually likes them. Yeah, there's, and that's not to say that they don't enjoy the interaction, because I think they do. Once they're comfortable with you, I think they enjoy it. But the one really popular bite video that came out, where the lady had the reticulated python in a big glass aquarium and came out and got a hold of her. And I don't know if you'd seen that one because it kind of got taken down, just kind of as bad press. But
I don't think I have seen that one, no.
Yeah, it got taken out, but it got circulated pretty quickly around the reptile community.
Right,
but
okay.
the mistake that lady made is, again, not recognizing the body language on the snake. And when it came out, she's got people there. She's showing off the animal, and she's wanting to show how docile it is. Well, first thing she does is offers her hand to it, and that snake comes out with an active food response.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, sweetie, how you doing?" And snake says, "Oh, lunch." It just latches onto her arm and wraps her up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a mistake that you'll see made. Yeah, I think that's how most of your bites probably happen. From people looking at it and thinking, "Oh, the snake's coming to me. It's not afraid anymore."
Yeah.
Well, it's coming to you because there's a heat signature there. You probably smell like the rat rack that was right behind you. It thinks it's getting ready to eat. So,
yeah. Or it recognizes you as that provider of food, and it's looking for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel that about my ants sometimes. I'm walking if I get too close, I think they kind of recognize my scent as that's food time. And you can see the activity kind of explodes.
I could see that. I don't know a great deal about insects, but I do kind of understand that they're really chemically driven.
Yes, they are.
I think that kind of drives their colony mentality and so forth. So, I mean, I could see that how I bet you can probably see the differences in their behavior as a group, depending on kind of what the environment's like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my bullet ants are the best ones for it. They're in a big tropical tank, bioactive thing. And like you say, if I get close enough, you can just see them all come pouring out of the nest and start looking for the food. Because they know whenever I get close, I've dropped in some worms or something,
Right.
And they are really aggressive hunters as well. They enjoy the hunt,
I bet.
So is there anything that I worded that completely wrong? If you could change one thing in the hobby, what would it be? It's a hard question.
Yeah, it is, and it's not. It's let's say that's a hard question to answer tactfully.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
If I could change one thing in the hobby, well, I think the most important thing that we have to deal with as a whole, as a hobby, and I'm going to kind of exclude beginner mistakes. That's never going to go away. There's always going to be beginners. There's always going to be mistakes. I'm not a fan personally of the grizzly live feeding stuff. I don't think it has a place in the hobby. I would do away with that. But I think something that's got really far-reaching consequences for keepers and breeders and pet supply businesses and everything is how they go about making reptile laws.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think if I was to change one thing in the hobby right now, it would be that our lawmakers elevate the standards of evidence that they require before imposing any kind of laws, regulations, bans, anything like that. That's something that we've had to deal with. Recently here in North Carolina, I've got a black and white Argentine tegu. They recently passed a regulation where, as of August of 2022, you're not going to be able to purchase or bring into the state any Argentine black and white tegus. The reasoning behind that is they're claiming it's an invasive species here. Now, that's a point of contention because there's several breeders of black and white tegus that have actively tried to breed their animals outside in North Carolina and were never successful. My understanding is there's just a really small sliver of the state kind of down by the coast where they can actually survive the winters and so forth. But so I mean, as far as the biggest thing within hobby wide, I think would be if we could get real reliable science-based information that everybody's making decisions on about what animals can be kept and how and so forth. I think that would be the biggest benefit across the board.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk to you about I think it's called the Lacey Act, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
you've got, right, so I wrote it down, that U.S. ARC? Did I
Yes.
say USARC?
U.S. Yeah.
Yes. So
U.S. Association
what's
of
that
Reptile
about? Do you
Keepers.
want to explain about it?
I was actually just finishing
Yeah,
up a
that's it.
video about
That's it.
that when we before we started this. Um, so the U.S. Association of Reptile Keepers is an organization that pretty much they watchdog legislation, um, and watch for anything that can impact um, hobbyists or pet keepers and so forth. And
Yeah.
that's with the Lacey Act. What they did with this last America Competes Act, kind of how that whole thing worked is they got a hold of that piece of legislation, read through it, found that section in there where they detached the part that is meant to overturn um, some of the victories that they had over that previously,
Right. Yeah.
that would prevent the transportation of animals across state lines. And so what USARC does is they watchdog that, they find those things, which would have, and if they don't find it, that stuff could pass, get turned into law. Nobody knows it until all of a sudden you get pulled over by a state trooper or something like that. You've got a snake in there, and they go, "Oh, this is a felony."
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And not knowing is no excuse. So they play a really important role in recognizing it, and then guiding people to, this is where you need to send your letters to this representative, this senator, and so forth. And just generating opposition to those things before they just pass unnoticed.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got to have somebody to do that too, because there are organizations out here that don't think any animals should be kept as pets under any circumstances.
Yes,
and they're actively making money off of, they raise money in order to push their agenda on people.
Yeah.
And if we don't have somebody there to watchdog all of this, they're just going to steamroll right through, and these ridiculous laws get passed. It impedes on our rights to have the animals. And I think the worst part about it is not just our rights to have these animals, but when you start looking at how we degrade their natural environments. I made a point in one of my videos the other day that at the rate some of these animals are losing their natural habitats, the thing that may prevent these animals from going extinct are captive breeding programs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my vampire crabs are going extinct in the wild, and it's exactly that sort of thing. If we weren't allowed to keep them, then that would be that. They wouldn't exist anymore,
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of benefits to keeping these animals that you don't necessarily see on the face, but
yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you 100,000,000%. So if there's any way, I know we're in the UK, but if anyone in my chat is in the USA, I know a few people are. If there's any way that they can help, you just let us know, and we'll put a thing out, like a link to a petition or anything that's going out. We're happy to sign that and support it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much impact it really has globally. I mean, outside of the U.S., I'm sure there is some, because I mean, just like there's the immediate problem, like say with the Lacey Act, for instance. Say, for instance, that gets passed, we can't transport animals across state lines anymore. I don't know off the top of my head what the import laws are. But I mean, say for instance, there's certain animals that get imported from breeders overseas, things of that nature. If we can no longer transport animals across state lines in this country, that's going to all roll downhill, even to suppliers that are overseas, because if you've got a breeder in North Carolina, he can't transport out of state. We've got a finite amount of people in our state that these folks can find responsible homes for their animals for. That's why they ship all over the country. So once you reduce that market for these folks,
So you could be stuck with like 1,000 snakes stuck in one state as such.
Yeah. I mean, the breeders that I know, they do a fraction of their business in their home state. The rest of it is distributed throughout the country.
Yeah.
So breeders are going to go out of business. The pet supply stores are going to be losing their tail on, the number of keepers are going to go down. So, it can be really impactful. And then expanding that out overseas, any legal transport of those animals in is going to kind of be a moot point, because once it gets here, it can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that really does suck. So, I mean, it's one of them things. If we could get it reversed, we definitely will. I don't know how, but it sucks. It shouldn't happen. It's one of those things. Like you say, there should be proper scientists looking into it and actually.
Exactly. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% up to speed with it. I do catch, bits and pieces here as we go along. But the way our system works here in the States is, it was written in the House of Representatives, and it passed there. But I believe that portion of the bill has been or is going to be removed out of the final bill that they vote on. So I think we dodged a bullet on it. I'm not 100% sure. Of course, American politics is what it is. It's a friggin' nightmare.
I think everywhere's politics is the same, really.
Oh, man. I tell you what, I mean, I'm an American combat vet, and after that fiasco of having Trump's ass in office, I've wanted to write a personal letter to the Queen on behalf of the country saying, hey, man, we're sorry about the teeth thing. Take us back. This is stupid.
Oh, dear. Yeah, okay. I don't know if she'd have you, to be honest.
Oh, no. Not at the time she wouldn't. I mean, I think that was actually a public statement for somebody who wasn't allowed in the country. Neither here nor there, no. But
so just a few more questions. If anyone in the chat has any questions, feel free to start chucking them into the comment section now, and I'll make sure they get asked at the end of the interview.
Yeah, I actually haven't been following that at all yet. Let's see if I can.
That's all right. Okay. Do you have any other hobbies?
Let's see. Oh man, reptiles have really taken over my life.
Yeah, that's why we asked it, because it does tend to just take over everything, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does. I mean, I'm getting older. I'm pushing 49 years old now, so my days of going to the pub and rolling around on the weekends and things like that have kind of come to a close. I was an avid sport bike rider. I ride motorcycles, and
nice.
I had a wake up call several years ago. I kind of rode off of a mountain, and that was it hurt really bad.
Bad.
I got really lucky because I was going around a blind turn, and it ended up being a decreasing radius turn. I was going too fast to make it, so I had to ride off the side of this hill. And as soon as I came off the road, I got bucked off of the bike and flew about 30 feet through the air and hit a tree. And that was actually a good thing, because had the tree not been there, I would have had a nice long few 100-foot trip off this hill.
Wow,
so, probably saved my life. But after laying in bed for a month in agony, I got back on the bike. I went up and done a couple more rides, and then I was just like, you know what?
It's lost its passion.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and let this ride.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's fair enough and safe, I mean, I've got a mate down the road who's literally just had a crash off his bike, and he's like, the entire side of his body's just gone. Not gone, but it's been destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, broken arm, crushed pelvis, everything's disintegrated, and it's like, wow, that's a wake-up call, like you say. Like, actually seeing it like happen is quite scary.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Yeah, I'm former military. I used to blow things up for a living and jump out of aircraft and stuff. So, um, I had that mindset for a long time, and I really think that kind of my bike wreck is what made me realize, oh, you do want to live out the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life if you can. So, and plus, my actual profession that I've actually changing jobs here, getting out of it. But I was working for the medical examiner's office on crime and accident scenes out here. So I was dealing with the decedents on those scenes. I was on call 24/7. If there was a tractor trailer accident or something like that, my phone would ring and I'd have to go out there and work that scene, bring the decedent back. So needless to say, you see the end result of some things like that, and it kind of wakes you up a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've pulled a couple motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was enough
for them. I think you never want to go out again, really, would you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a wake up call. But yeah, it was a bit of a morbid job. I decided it was time to get out of that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you said you're in North Carolina, is that right?
Yes.
What's it like? I have no idea with American sort of geography. Is there trees or is it open fields, or what's North Carolina like?
It's trying to think. It's probably not too dissimilar from England. I haven't been to England. I've been to Scotland, bounced off of Scotland at an airport, bounced off of Greece at an airport, in France, and the only country I really kind of wandered around in a whole lot was Germany. Over there, I mean, outside of Bosnia and Iraq, but of course that was different. But we're on the East Coast here, just a little ways up from Florida. So it's temperate pine forests closer to the coast. You get a little bit more deciduous out here. The more inland you get, and I'm kind of like right in the middle of the state, so it's a couple hour drive, and I could be in the Appalachian Mountains, another couple hours, and be out on the coast.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a terribly long drive north, and you can start getting up towards Washington, New York, PA, and all that stuff. And then south, you start moving in towards Florida. So
wow. So really, you're sort of like in the best area. You could go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's far enough inland where the hurricanes don't drown us, which is a big plus.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I could deal with hurricanes or tornadoes. They're quite scary.
Yeah, I don't know how the people down off the Gulf Coast out here deal with it, because that's just so heartbreaking to see that. There's no way I would live down there. I would move. I'd just move. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, you slap me in the face one time, I'm probably going to go, okay, well, let me turn around and walk away and not get slapped again.
No, that's a really good metaphor for it. I like that.
Yeah, so it's a pretty nice little area out here.
Yeah. Who funds your projects? Is it like self-funded, or do you have like so you do it all yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. Are they quite expensive, like to buy or keep?
They can be. They're a lot more reasonable, I think, than people may give them credit for. You can. I've held $100,000 snakes in my hands before. Wow. I would never buy one. 100 grand is going into a structure of some sort,
Yeah.
But so I mean, you can dump hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars into these animals, because there are people that, these more rare morphs and things like that are really in demand. But typically, I don't have any real high end animals necessarily. Like my Nile Monitor, I think I might have paid $50 or $75 for him.
That's not bad.
Which is, well, it's not bad in one respect. It's completely stupid in another respect.
Oh, okay. Okay.
and just in the respect that they're so easy to get for people.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're such a difficult animal to work with sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
takes
Dangerous as well.
takes a
If you
lot
don't
of
know what you're
patience
doing.
to work with them. And you've got you may get that animal really cheap, but you're making up for that in the enclosure size and the amount of time that you've got to invest in these animals to really socialize them well. So I mean, but I mean, if you know what you're doing with the animals and you've got some carpentry skills and you can build the enclosures for them, then yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. And I
have no carpentry skills at all.
well, I've got some medical skills too, so I've had to suture myself up a couple times. So if I ever really get messed up by the animals, I at least know how to stitch myself up.
Yeah, that's a bonus, I suppose.
Yeah. But I mean, they're really not too bad. I mean, I may spend, $75, $100 on rodents that will last me for all of my rodent eating animals, 3-4 months, sometimes longer.
Yeah.
And then I feed rabbits to my larger ones, and I may go out and spend $100 on rabbits every few months. So, I mean, when you really break it down on a weekly cost for them, they're not that expensive.
Not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you've got smaller snakes, even up to like maybe boas or something like that, like boa constrictors, boa imperators, you're going to be feeding those most of the time, either really small rabbits or large rats, some fowl and so forth. And if you can find a breeder that's pretty reasonably priced, then it's not too bad. Now, I do tell people that, if they're spending money at the pet stores buying feeders there, they're going to spend a lot more. It's going to cost a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I always try and breed as much as I can to feed to my ants. It just, they save money, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is more expensive to feed insects to the reptiles or insects to the lizards than it is to feed snakes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a fairly large lizard that is an insectivore, and you try conventional means of sourcing insects for them, they can get really pricey really quick and outprice what it costs to feed your snakes.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you teach in schools or anything like that? Do you ever take your snakes out to schools or events or anything? Do you try to educate people?
Yeah, COVID makes it a little difficult. Just coming out of that now.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I'd take my animals down to pet stores and things like that periodically, and just kind of hang off to the side and let the people that want to come over and see them. I had a couple of the clerks at one of the pet stores that used to like to see them all the time.
Yeah.
So, I always enjoy doing that. There's a couple places that I've been in contact with that, kind of offered to go down and do some educational stuff with them. And, hopefully this summer, as the COVID thing, hopefully all of that kind of starts to really subside for real. And, we start getting back to normal like that. I would love to do that because there's really not too many things better than taking somebody that's either afraid of snakes or have never held one, and putting my big Burmese python over their shoulders and just watching their face light up because they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I've got the animals that are well socialized enough to do that with. So
no, that's brilliant. I think I would love to get out and show people my ants more if I could, but you can't really take ants with you. But yeah, I love educating people and like just talking about it and like you say, just kind of getting that interest in the hobby, because I think once you spark that interest, a lot of people have it already. They just need that sort of guidance.
Yeah. It's and I think it goes a long ways too towards helping to prevent some of these irrational and unreasonable laws.
It does.
Because especially out here with the people that don't have a whole lot of experience with snakes, you know what the knee-jerk responses are. Snake, kill it. Or any number of responses to it from people that just aren't familiar with them. But once you really start to educate folks a little bit and show them that they're not man-eating killers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I try and get people to think about it the same way they would think about a pet dog as opposed to a wild dog.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a pet dog that'll sleep with you every night. You trust it around your kids and so forth. But, if you've got a pack of wild dogs coming by, you're not going to tell your 2-year-old to go out and pet them.
No, completely different.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same thing with snakes too. I mean, you wouldn't go outside and just start, trying to pick up and handle a wild snake because they don't know what's going on. You're a threat. They're going to try and bite you.
Yeah.
But if you've got one that's socialized and they understand, oh, this is fun to kind of get out of my cage and run around. It just takes some of that demonization off of them, and gives them a little bit more of a pleasant face.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. So we've got a question here from All Ants UK.
Okay.
Do you hold your green tree python, the ones in the background, because some people have tame ones, but some are aggressive?
Yeah, actually, I'll show you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
This is a tree.
Yep.
Wow.
And this is the green tree python, and they're nocturnal typically.
Yeah.
So they're not really active during the day. And this is, daytime here, of course. It's 5 o'clock. So
yeah,
he's not very active, but they do get kind of a bad reputation. The green tree pythons, carpet pythons and things like that. The more arboreal snakes, I think, tend to be a little bit more reactive sometimes.
Right.
And a reactive snake, when you don't really handle them too much, can be unnerving. But I'll take him out sometimes just for socialization purposes, and just let him kind of hang out like this. And sooner or later, he'll start he'll start waking up and crawl off of his perch and things like that.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Nice.
That's the ones that I want. That's so cool.
Yeah, he is. When I got him, the person that had him before me had done a really good job with him.
Yeah.
He
really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that he was used to being handled and so forth. But one thing in particular about these guys is they can be kind of fragile.
Okay.
More fragile than a bigger constrictor, and you can kind of see. You see the way his body is. He's got that kind of exposed spine right there.
Yeah, like a ridge line. Yeah.
There's not quite as much muscle. Their tails can be really fragile, really small vertebrae in there and so forth. So he doesn't want to be messed with a whole lot right now. He was sleeping and he doesn't want to come off of here.
No, that's
but
so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Thank you for showing us. Thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. What are you doing? Yeah. See, this is one of them times where he was sleeping and he was perfectly happy being left alone.
Yeah.
And these guys have got amongst the largest teeth for their size of any snake.
Wow.
These emerald tree boas, they've just got massive fangs in there, because their diet's like birds and things like that. Yeah, so they've kind of evolved these longer teeth so they could be sitting there like this and then plug into a bird as it lands next to them or whatnot. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, don't stress him out. Let's get him back in his enclosure.
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready to continue his nap.
Yeah. I don't blame him. That's super cool. Thank you very much for showing us.
I
appreciate that. We've got another question here from the Ant Warrior.
Okay.
I'll let you just concentrate a second.
Oh, he's good.
There you go. Is there anything that you regret about the hobby? Anything you've done in the past, or something that you've bought?
Yeah, there is, and it was it's a trap that some people will fall into. I fell into it when I first got into it as well, and that is taking on too many animals at once.
Yeah.
It's a real easy thing to do, especially for me, coming from having as many aquariums as I had.
Yeah.
All the different species of marine fish that I had. I just got into the habit of when I'd go to the pet store, or I'd go to the fish store, I'd be looking around and I'd be like, oh, okay, I like that. They've got one of these now. Let's go put this in the tank. And before you know it, you've got this whole huge collection. Well, it's a lot easier with fish because, although there's little differences and so forth in how you keep them, it's all typically the same. They're in a tank. They don't, Now reptiles, when I first got into reptiles, I had, I would, I want one of these. I want one of these. And I'd get the enclosures all set up for them. And then, I found myself with 2 monitor lizards and a green iguana.
Yeah.
And every one of these animals is really time intensive to socialize, and then working with my snakes as I started to bring those in. And, you've got to devote so much time, not only to socializing the animals, but to giving them any kind of a quality of life. Because, I'm really a firm believer that, even snakes, that interaction is a quality of life thing for them. Same thing with the lizards. They're in captivity, and part of that trade-off for keeping them in captivity and getting them to be more docile is part of their brain kind of slows down, that instinctive part where they're always running. They're either escaping being eaten by something or chasing food. It does kind of dull that down a little bit. I think you've got to interact with them as a trade-off to just keep their mind moving and keep them from just stagnating, and keeping that quality of life up. So that was one thing. I went and I vetted out a couple people and rehomed some of my animals right off the bat there, just because I realized that I wasn't going to have time to devote to all of them. So I think I've got a nice balance here right now.
No, that's fair. That completely makes sense. Like you say, you've got to have that balance. If it's too much, we quite often do the same in the ant hobby. You buy too many, like thinking, they're just small colonies. You end up with like 1 million different small colonies on your shelf, and then they start to get bigger and bigger and need more space, more enclosure, and it soon gets out of hand. I quite often get people asking me if I can help them rehouse a colony or whatever. It is one of those common mistakes, is it?
Yeah.
Same
thing in the reptile hobby. There's no way with the space that I have here that I would have been able to have kept all of my original collection, especially as they grown, because I don't have room for 2 Nile Monitor enclosures. Well, it was a Nile and a mangrove monitors what I had, but nonetheless, I don't have enough room for 2 monitor enclosures here, plus an iguana enclosure. So it's just we've got to know as keepers what our limitation is.
Yes, definitely.
In order to be able to have any quality of life for the animals that we've got.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's important as well. The quality of life is a massive thing for me. Like, I try and do things in a natural way and not stress out animals as much as possible, because that's my ethics. You know what I mean? That's just how I believe it should be done.
Yeah. If I don't pay attention to an animal often enough, I feel bad about it. You walk by, if it's been a couple of days that I haven't interacted with it, and they're kind of looking at me like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're pretty much at the end of the interview. Is there anything that you wanted to say before you left?
I don't know, man. We've said a lot already. No, it was really cool to hear from you, man. It was really awesome to meet you and get a chance to talk with you a little bit. animal keepers of any stripe, it's always good for us to, collaborate
Interact a little bit.
and
Yeah,
do stuff
definitely.
together. And
Definitely. Well, I feel I've learned a lot from this interview as well, and I'm sure most of my viewers have as well. So thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it, and it would be amazing to have you on again in the future.
absolutely, yeah, and we'll definitely keep in touch, man.
Brilliant, brilliant. Right, well, I shall let you go then. Have a lovely afternoon over there, because it's only, like 5, 6 o'clock?
Yep. It's 10 after 5 right now, so.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. over here, so we'll be heading to bed before too long.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you very much, buddy. We'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon. You guys all take care.
Cheers. Right, bye.
Bye.
There we go. And that was, I'm going to say it wrong, Intrepid Exotics. Oh, hang on. We are moved. Was that? You got me. There. I'm back. You got me. So we're going to crack on with a game in a minute. That was an absolutely amazing interview. Really enjoyed that one. I think everyone did, really. Mark, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining in. Stacey, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a really good interview, wasn't it? I was so excited to get him on, and yeah, well, you know what I get like when I get excited. I jump. But let's not jump around today. So we've got a little game lined up for you in a minute. I promised you there's lots of games. As I was saying earlier, if you want to get involved in these games, there's a link on my website. If you look for the picnic table go onto the home drop down thing, go onto the picnic table, you can find a little form that you can fill out, and it will put you on the list, and you can get involved in games and all the different things that involve people coming onto the stream. You can have interviews or games or whatever. It's all on the little form. And there's other games as well, which are just going to be like audience involvement. Like you guys there with your little keyboards and whatnot can just go on and have some fun. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to crack on with a little game in a minute. But first, I'm going to make a massive announcement, because it is absolutely phenomenal, amazing, big announcement, ta-da, that sort of thing. We've had some massive, awesome support lately towards the picnic table, which means that basically, I can't tell you the ins and outs of it, but basically I've been able to drop the price from £20 a ticket to £15 a ticket. So that's a little bit cheaper. But even better than that, there's a discount code flying around. I can send it in a link to anyone that sends me a message or goes on Facebook and looks up my page or anything. It's all there. It will take another £5 off. So your ticket is only £10. So you can get 2 tickets for £20, which was the original. How mad's that? Literally half the price has literally just been cut off in one day. So a massive thank you to the supporters. They don't want any mentions or anything. They don't want to be given recognition for it, but they know who they are. So a massive thank you to the people supporting the exhibition. Thank you for supporting the exhibition and providing the support and donations that you have provided. It's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Ant Warrior, if you want to join us on the screen thing, click the link. You know what I mean. We'll be cracking on with the game as soon as you are in, buddy. We have Ants Hayward and the Ant Warrior are going head to head tonight. I will explain all the rules in just a moment when we've got both of them here. So we're just waiting for Ant Warrior to come on. So yeah, do all the people who ordered at 20. Yeah, right. So the people that ordered at 20, I've spoke to each one of them and I've sorted it out, basically. Don't worry about it. But yes, they were all getting refunds and things like that. But most of them have just taken extra tickets. There we go. We have the Ant Warrior and Ant Hayward here. So I'm just going to explain it whilst they're here in the background. We're going to... Hang on a minute. If I do this one... If I just do that for 2 seconds. Right, so I'm going to have 5 items. I'm going to list off one item at a time. And they're going to race to go and find this item, basically. First one back wins. There's 5 rounds, no prize at the end this time, but we are getting a sponsor on board very soon to start providing prizes for pretty much every show. Going to be awesome. So yeah, again, massive thank you to them. So yeah, Ant Hayward, when you're ready, bring your camera on, buddy, and I will bring you onto screen.
Oh,
Brilliant. Right, here we go. Here we go. Let's do that. Right. There we go. We have Ant Hayward and
Hello.
Ant Warrior. So just give us a little wave, guys.
oh,
Ant Warrior, you probably want to take your headphones off. Otherwise, when you go running, you're going to get caught. Yeah, good.
I'm standing up
There
for
we go.
this.
Right. So, are you ready? First
Yes.
one back's going to win, right? First item, a toothbrush. Go. Now you wait. You wait. One of them's going to come flying back. There we go. That was fast. Right, Ant Hayward got that one. That was fast. That was wow. That was very fast. Well done. Right, next item. Next item. You ready? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Something orange. Go. Something orange. What would you pick? Something. I have nothing orange like around me. I'd be running, probably in the kids' room. Oh, yeah. He's done it again. That was close. That was close. That was really good. You both like well done. Right, yeah. Ant Hayward got that one again. I'm afraid, Ant Warrior. Right. Are we ready?
I'm fast, mate.
Something fluffy. That was pretty much the same time. Right. Right. Be ready. Something with 4 corners. Ant Warrior got it. Well done. That was
Outboy
fast, yeah.
UK. Outboy UK outward.
Yeah. Well done. Now the last item is the hardest thing to find in my house, right? A pen. Fair play. I'm rubbish. I can never find a pen anywhere.
I've got loads on my desk.
I'm guessing I lost. Fun.
You did lose that one. But, right, so we've had 2 wins each and a draw. So we're going to go for one more. I'm going to have to come off my head. Something round.
Got it. Lolly.
Give that
There's
one
so
to
many
Ant
lollies.
Hayward because he shouted me first. Yeah. There we go. Well, that was that game. It was absolutely brilliant. Thank you guys for joining in with the game. Like I say, we don't have a prize for this one, but we will have prizes
it
in
was
the
fun.
future, and we will.
That
have
were well
plenty
good.
more.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming on, guys.
Thanks, man.
I'll leave you to it now.
Thank you.
There we go. So that was just a little bit of fun. You know, why not? Wasted a few minutes, didn't it? No, I enjoyed that actually, sending them about. UK ants. Yes, you were really watching a grown man sending people about. Why not, eh? Bit of fun. You could do it next time, UK ants. Why not? Get involved. But yeah, a massive thank you to Ant Warrior and Cole Patrick for coming on and just having a bit of fun, really. I think next, what day are we on? We're on Sunday at the minute. So on Wednesday, we have a game which you don't have to come on stream. It's going to involve you there with your keyboards. I think you're going head to head against me. So that's going to be a fun little game again. We've got lots of these little games. We're going to have a duck race in a minute. So who wants a duck race? You know, let's just get that set up. We currently have 8 people in the chat. Oh, it's just jumped up to 11 people in the chat. So we give it another minute, see if anyone else is going to join. Now, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I am literally, I'm sweating. It is so hot in here right now. Whoa. I can't tell you why. Like, I think we've got the heating on now, in my luck. So what have we got? We've got 11 people in the chat at the minute. There's not a prize for this one. It's just for fun. If you want to get involved, call out a number. You know how it works. Anyone that's new and watching, we just call out numbers. If the number's already been picked, then pick a second number. Like I say, it's not for a prize. It's just for a bit of fun. And we're going to have a duck race. Now, I'm going to leave the duck race running for the 2 minutes whilst I quickly run and grab some water. So, we've got quite a good, we got scuba duck, we got unicorn duck, Dr. Duck. Dr. Duck is well known throughout Duck Society. You know, we've got some pretty good ducks lined up on the race. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's have some fun. And I'll be back in a minute. And they're coming down the last stretch now. We've got number 11 holding out in front. And they're making their last little break for it. They're all coming up to number 11. Number 9. Number 9 has taken Ant Warrior. There you go. You won something. There you go. Whatever. That was a good bit of fun again. I do enjoy these little games. Pick it up. Yeah, pick up the pace. Excuse me. What else have we got going on at the moment? Oh, I've had all sorts of interesting things happening in the ant corner lately. So, one of my colonies, I went to move out of a test tube. Now, this is a Lasius niger colony, bear in mind. They've got about 50 workers, and I wanted to move them from one old dirty test tube to the new test tube because I haven't got a nest for them that's suitable yet, and I'm quite happy to keep them in the test tube until there's a lot more of them, you know. So I looked like I went to expose it, unwrapping the tinfoil, and it biggest shock of my life, right? So I'm unwrapping the tinfoil and I can't work out what happened. I'm looking in, and there's workers, pile of eggs, pile of brood, no queen. Where's the queen gone? I'm looking. I've looked really hard. And in the end, I actually resorted to tapping these ants out into a spare outworld I had. There was no queen. I think they've eaten her. I think. Like, I don't know why. I've given them loads of food. Like, they're happy. There was loads of them. But it seems that they've eaten their own queen. She's definitely not there. I don't know. That's the first time I've ever experienced that. It was just like I say, completely random for no reason. I don't know why. But then I got two of these Lasius niger colonies at the same time. This was to a nuptial flight. Hang on. You get. Now I'm confused. Stop confusing me. 1 second. So I got two of the colonies at the same time during that nuptial flight. So the second one probably has around 50 to 100 workers again, doing really, really well. Yeah, right. So Ants UK. How come price drop for the ant show? Do you get something less? No, you don't get something less. I've had a massive donation given to me of basically what like stuff that's going in as free gifts. So the money that was going to go towards the free gifts that was going to be made out of the ticket sales, it just doesn't need to be done anymore. So we've dropped the price. What's a donator? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm just reading it as it's coming through. Yeah, I had someone basically give me a massive donation towards the show because they're just like, oh, that's awesome. Let me give, so they just wanted to help out. So, yeah, we've been able to drop the price from 15. And if you use the code that's going about currently, it's 10. But that code's only for a little while, But then it is 15. But still, you won't get anything less. There's still the same amount of free gifts, same amount of vendors, same amount of everything else. Everything is still exactly the same. Just we've been able to drop the price because of this awesome donation towards it, which is really cool. I would call it a sponsorship, but they don't want any recognition or anything for it. They just wanted to give. Right, so free gifts. There's a couple of different things. I think basically you're going to get a bag and you're going to have you can get an ant colony and something else, or a t-shirt and something else. There's a few different options basically that you can choose from, and there will be someone in charge of that whole area as well to guide you through the process. But basically you'll be able to walk along and take a certain amount of items, but there's ants, there's t-shirts, there's free gifts like key rings and stuff, and there's lots of different stuff. But I understand that not everyone wants a free ant colony of my choosing or whatever, so that we've given it several options, if you know what I mean. There's going to be lots of different types of ants, lots of different gifts, lots of different stuff that you can basically put into this bag. Where can you buy a ticket? You can buy a ticket on the Ants on a Rock website. I can probably put the link up in a minute. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, here we go. There's the link. The price isn't going to go back up. The price is going to stay at 15. If you get the code, it goes down to 10. That code will only last until the end of May. Yeah, that's fair, Ants UK. Cole Patrick, it is the 27th of August. Yeah, all Ants UK. I thought that as well because like ants are good, but not everyone, like I say, is going to want like ants, and it's not nothing like a Niger colony. Although there is Niger colonies going to be there, there's also going to be better colonies. Because again, if you just want like a Niger colony, then you're going to be able to take like a T-shirt and a couple of gifts as well. But if you take like quite an expensive colony, then you're probably only going to be able to get that colony and a couple of free gifts and not necessarily a T-shirt. If you know what I mean. But there's going to be loads of stuff. And again, I'm hoping to just chuck as much away as possible. Not chuck it away, that sounds bad. Give as much away as possible. Don't want to buy the same one before then. What's the free ant? I can't tell you what the free ants are because there's like going to be a whole range that's going to be bought closer to the time, basically. Cannot tell you what they're going to be until the day, I'm afraid. But I'm going to say, like, don't worry about what ants are there, like, going to be as a free gift because there's, like I say, like a whole different range of species and genuses. And then at the actual show, there's going to be, you know, hundreds of different species and genus. So if you don't buy any ants until then you're definitely going to get the ants that you want at the show, I expect. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. You say it makes sense. Perfect. That, yeah. But there's going to be loads of ants for sale. Like I say, I'm going to be having some giveaways and stuff. There's just going to be ants everywhere. So if you want something in particular, I expect it might even be at the show. Like, I can't see why not. We've got Ants Are Us, the Ant Lady. I want to say more, but I can't. We've got quite a few like good vendors coming along with great different amounts of stock. Will the Ant Lady and Ants Are Us come as a shop? Yeah, all the vendors are coming as shops. That's what I mean. So like you'll be able to buy ants there, your formicariums, food. There's going to be other stuff like some other inverts and stuff like that. I don't know about Ants HQ yet. He's going to let me know closer to the time because of basically schedules and things like that. So he hasn't 100% confirmed, but he's definitely interested. Still holding out for a paid lift and someone's floor to sleep on. I think quite a lot of people might be like getting like, what's the word? A camping site. I know there's camping sites around there. And I think quite a few people were going to like pitch in and get a camping site together. So maybe that's something that you could do, Katrina. Ant houses will not be there. They're in Europe, aren't they? I haven't actually even approached ant houses about being there. Oh, I can, and I can't tell you, Ants UK. I can't actually tell you a massive amount of who's going to be there, because what's the word? Privacy laws. They haven't agreed to me disclosing that they are going to be there and things like that. So I can't actually tell you who is going to be there. Oh, you mean, yeah, there's going to be lots of different like enclosures and stuff there. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking a whole range myself. The Ants and Lock is going as a content creator and a store, and we're going to have like all our different range of formicariums, loads of different ants, loads of different foods, all sorts of stuff that you can buy. I'm just getting that code up for you now, everybody, so that I'm going to copy and paste it so that I know it's completely right. That one. There we go. That is the code. Which am I taking? I'm taking loads of stuff, but again, I don't know 100% what I'm going to take. Yeah, it's quite far away. I haven't, like, all of my effort is going into putting the show together at the moment, not necessarily worrying about what I'm taking as stock. I've got loads of stock and I'm going to have loads more by the time of the show. I mean, it's months away and I've got new things coming every couple of weeks at the minute. So there's going to be loads of stuff. I've put that discount code in. It is Summer11 113. If you use that, it takes £5 off of the ticket, which brings your price down to a tenner. Yeah, the Ant Warrior, it really sucks that you're not even allowed to go, buddy. But next year is going to be just as awesome, and I'm hoping we'll have even more events next year. So don't be too disheartened. In fact, I have spoken to some people who can't come this year, and they said next year they will definitely come. So, like, there's going to be a lot more ant stores next year. Just the show's going to be bigger next year. I think we're looking at around 30 vendors rather than the 10 to 15 mark. So we're going to be doubling the size of the show next year. That'd be pretty cool. Take you a whole day to walk around, let alone see all the guest speakers and everything. No, it's going to be good. I'm super excited. So we've got some brilliant guest speakers, some brilliant people in the meet and greet area and stuff like that. Great events. You know what I'm like. We're coming up with little fun things going on. So there's fun things going on all around the room as well. Some raffles, food. The most important thing for me, lots and lots of food. We've got staff as well. So there's going to be people there if you need any help with anything. Just made a Word document of the code. Yeah, cool. Where all the full details will be released probably at the start of August, maybe mid-July. Basically, not until after AntCon, I'm not releasing full details. And then the prices don't go up. Oh, you mean the discount code? Like, the discount code will be until the end of May. And then, let's say, the full details will come out in, like, I don't know, June, July, August sort of time. But I don't want, like I said before, I'm not going to release much more information until after AntCon has been and gone anyways, because I don't want to, like, you know what I mean. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Right. Looking back over my sheet. So I can't buy a cheap ticket without knowing what's confirmed. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. So, it is a bit of a pain, but that's just the laws of things. That I can't do. Why did that come up? I can't do. Like I said, I can't release a certain amount because of the privacy laws, and then I'm not releasing a certain amount until then. I mean, buy the ticket now, buy it later. There might be another sale later on. To be honest, it's pretty much the best I can do, and I can't accommodate for everyone. You know what I mean? But I expect there'll be another sale, August time, to mop up the last tickets and things like that. All Ants UK, yeah, I was going to go to AntCon as well, but I don't think I'm going to go to AntCon now, strictly because it's going to be too much, like the travel and like staying away and things like that. It's just too much commitment, time away from the home, things like that as well. Which it sucks because I was looking forward to AntCon, but you know what I mean. I've got my own event, so I'm not too bothered about it. I was only really going there to meet everybody, so people can meet me at my event, I suppose. But it does suck. Cole Patrick, that's really cool of you. Thank you. Ants UK, can't the code work until the details are released? No, the code has been provided again because of the donation. It might get extended, but I'd have to speak to them. Do they refund your ticket if you don't go? You can get a refund up until the end of June, and then there's no further refunds on tickets because all the money gets put into other things. It's a non-profit event, so there won't be any money left over after a certain point, basically. Oh, Antcon, I'm not too worried about refund and things like that. So I'm just following the chat back, going back through the things. But right, so I'm going to put on a 30-second timer. I'm going to put you back on the tank for for however long. There we go. Yeah, I keep seeing the crab run across. So I just want to keep an eye on it in case we see a crab. You never know. You never know. All Ants UK, that's a really good question. So let's have a little think. They're basically just trapjaws, aren't they? I'm not too bothered. I mean, I can never pronounce their name. You know what my pronunciation's like. I've got my trapjaws. They're just slightly different trapjaws. I'm not too bothered, but I mean, I'd keep anything. You know me, I'll keep pretty much anything. But whether I'm actually interested in them or passionate about that species, no, I'm not excited about them. There's only a few at the moment that I'm desperate, that I'd really like to go out and get. Mainly because I'm just trying to keep it, a little bit close at the moment. They are like diacama mixed with bullet ants. Okay. So they're just I know I've definitely seen pictures of them, but like I say, they're not one that's really jumped out to me to go and get. Trapjaws mixed with bullet ants. Yeah, I mean, they are big. I know that. They are big and they are cool looking, but yeah, like I say, they're just not one that's particularly jumped out to me that I want to have in my collection. What I am kind of wanting to do at the minute, I mean, I say that I'm in a few different projects at the minute. Now bull ants, they're cool, but again, I'm not really bothered about bull ants. But yeah, I'm in a few different projects at the minute. I got a couple of big bioactive builds on the go again, so you have to wait and see what I'm going to put in there. And I've got a few things that I'm working towards, but they're sort of things that you need to do really, really. Basically, I want army ants, and it is possible to keep army ants, the proper ones. What are they called? I can never remember. They start with a D. Oh no, Echion Burcelli or something like that. That's the ones I want, right? And they are the proper proper army ants. But they're really hard to keep because they need basically like a certain amount of fresh space to maraud into every day. It's not possible to keep that exactly that. Ants UK, exactly that. It is not possible to keep it. It's just not. So I'd love to like work towards a situation where I could, if you know what I mean. It has been done before. I've seen some people have kind of success with it, but I don't really agree with the way that they've gone about it. What I would really, really like is also impossible to import someone. So, see, I can get them. I know I can get them. That's not the issue. It's I won't get them unless I know I can house them correctly and safely, which at this point, like you say, it's impossible, and I'm not even going to try. Because they're Roman, exactly that. See, you're literally put, yeah, yeah, they would be quite expensive. Not an issue though. Like I have things sorted for that. I have a budget for things like this. You know what I mean? Have you seen the 2 documentaries on the bivouac, Tom? I don't know if I have, to be honest. You'll have to send me the links, and I'll have to have a look. What I need to do is get back on doing my review videos and do some review videos on it. But yeah, my plan is like, I've always said that I'm gonna be moving to. What if I could get like the whole underfloor of a garage, like, like I don't know how big's the garage gonna be. It's gonna be a big garage. What if I could tear up the entire floor, lay a bioactive environment, and then like lay a glass floor on top of it? How they are marauding, so potentially that would give them enough space. I'd have to put in a certain amount of food every day. It's interesting. There's a few, you know what I mean? I've got some theories, and some ideas, but it needs a lot of exploring. You're super rich. Buy me a ticket, please. Then my dad can't say no. I'm not that rich, honestly. I have my money, I have the home money, and then I have like the business hobby kind of ant money, and it is all separate. I'm definitely not wealthy. I spend most of my life pretty skint. The business obviously has its own money that I do not touch because that's business money, but that also includes the YouTube channel and other things like that. So, like, there's money for things like that, but there's not money in my pocket all the time. Trust me, I'm not that wealthy. If I was wealthy, I probably wouldn't clean windows for a living, would I? Let's be honest. I'll link them here. I don't know if you can put links in the chat, Katrina. If you can, send them to me over Discord or something. Cole Patrick, you gotta go. So we shall see you later. Thanks for joining in with the game earlier, buddy. That was great fun. And well done for winning. Quick question. Do you make any money from the YouTube channel alone? I do have some Patreon supporters just for my YouTube channel, yes. That's a quick, easy question. So we currently have one sponsor for the picnic table show. Just the picnic table. This live show is sponsored by Ants R Us currently. And then I have a few Patreon supporters for the whole channel, that being Kevin Rogerson, Jason Walker, and Anthony Matters, all of which are regulars in the community chat watching these shows. I think quite a few of them came in during the interview, actually, so that was nice of them. Not sure if they're still here. But yeah, it has taken a long time to work on getting those Patreon supporters as well. You know, it's not an overnight thing. I do thoroughly appreciate them as well. But it enables us to do slightly more. It's enabled me to improve the technology behind the streams, and I am carrying on improving the technology behind them as well. We're looking at getting basically more cores and processors and stuff like that to just give you a much more better stream. It's still a little bit blurry and a little bit fuzzy at times. The Wi-Fi still dips out occasionally, so we're going to get that hardwired into the computer. That's going to be a bit of work because the box is quite far away from the computer through different rooms and stuff. But yeah, it just enables us to push that little bit further. And we are looking into getting another sponsor for the picnic table live streams, which means we'll be able to do a giveaway in every show. Which will be really cool. All Ants UK, yeah, you are in most of the streams. In fact, most of the people in the chat are here every week, twice a week. So absolutely amazing. Thank you. How did I get into ant keeping? I've always wanted to keep ants ever since I was yay high to a grasshopper or whatever the term is. I always wanted ants. My mum always said no. So the minute I got my own place when I was 18 and my wife moved in as my girlfriend, I was like, you know what, little miss? We're going to town and we're going to get an ant farm. And we got like a really cheap crap ant farm from Argos. And that was the start of it, basically. It all kind of carried on from there. But I didn't really start full on ant keeping like I do now until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when actually I got quite unwell and I spent a considerable amount of time in the intensive care unit. And I thought, well, it's probably about time for me to start slowing down. So let's look at my other hobbies, because obviously I'm a professional athlete as well. A lot of my work day to day at that point was just training until I couldn't lift anything anymore, like really destroying my body. So I kind of pushed it as far as I could push with my health conditions as well. So I thought it's time to start slowing down. And I started buying more and more ant colonies, you know, and it's just got bit out of control. No, not out of control. It spiraled from that point. It's completely under control, actually. It's one of the things I do pride myself on, is I never let it get out of control. Although I do have a lot, I pre-planned everything. I've got enough space for everything, and I'm not worried in that respect. Links in Messenger, thank you very much for that, Katrina. I'll have a look in a minute. All Ants UK, yes, you are very loyal. It's amazing. The ant keeping community is a vibe. Yeah, it really is. It's a great community. Hey, KB, thanks for signing in. And Ant Warrior, of course, buddy, I'm happy to share anything. I'm a very open person, as many of you will know. I talk about pretty much anything that you want to know about. Ants Canada got you started when you were 6. All Ants UK. When you were 6, that's quite impressive. Is Ant Kit going to the Ant Show? I do not believe I've heard back from Ant Kit yet. KB, what have you missed? You've missed the interview. You've missed a little game. You've missed quite a bit of chatting. You missed quite a bit, actually, KB. Most of the stream, yeah. What I can do is I'll go write down Ant Kit. And I'll send them a little follow-up email and see what they say. Ant Keeping Depot. I believe that's a European one. I'm not 100% sure. Ants UK, honestly, I cannot say any more. I can't tell you if people are coming or not until... I just can't. Basically, privacy laws won't allow me. I can get in a lot of trouble if I go releasing information which people haven't agreed to, basically. Like lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of trouble. So honestly, I cannot say anymore. There we go. Ant Keeping Depots Australian. Yeah, I did think it was not from here. But Wakushi isn't going to be there. I can guarantee Wakushi and Ant Antics aren't going to be there because obviously they've got their own convention. Okay, yeah, makes sense. There is going to be between 10 to 15 vendors, if that helps put your mind at ease, with a heavy ant theme. That's pretty much as much information as I can release. KB's going to be there. I can say he's going to be here. But like I say, a lot of it I just can't release information on unless they've agreed for me to say that they're going to be there and put on a post or whatever. Then I can't release the information on it because of privacy laws, and I will get in trouble if not completely shut down, and we don't want that. We're probably going to give it another few minutes. Yeah, Mantis NI is going to be there. Mantis NI is going to be there. He's absolutely awesome. He came on the show a few weeks back. Was it a few weeks back or less? I don't know. Time flies so fast with me. I can't keep track of it all. Yeah, but he's going to be there. And he's going to have some great stock with him as well. He's got some awesome mantises, some brand new enclosures that he's going to bring along. So that's super exciting. I have been told by one of the vendors that he's bringing some exclusive products that will only be available on that one particular day, and then he's taken them off the market and so on and so forth. So that's pretty exciting as well. But yeah, I'm only going to give it a few more minutes, and then I'll probably call it end of the stream at 11 o'clock, which is in about 4 minutes' time. We've also got, and I know they don't mind me saying because they've started advertising it everywhere as well, Ant Keepers magazine is going to be there for everyone to meet. Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. Obviously, they're a huge part of the ant keeping community, keeping us all up to date on news and stuff. So I've already had an interview with the Ant Keeper magazine, and they are super excited to come along. And I know they don't mind me saying that they're going to be there because they've just started advertising it as well. Any tips for a new colony or ant species I should keep? Right now, you have Tetramorium crispatum queen, Camponotus herculinus colony, Camponotus creatalis queen, and a Mimica colony. So they're all really cool ants, actually. I will answer that in a second, all ants UK. Ant Warrior, it's a hard one. You've got to think, what are you interested in? It's all right asking for suggestions, but what are you interested in? What kind of floats your boat? Do you like big ants? Do you like little ants? You've got quite a good mix there, haven't you? One that I've really got into lately are the Formica species. I don't know why. I always wanted Formica rufa. But just the Formica genus in general are really interesting. I think they're super cool looking. So yeah, like maybe a Formica. I don't know. It's a hard one. What sort of things interest you? All Ants UK, you're asking what next species I'm thinking of keeping. Like I just said, I have actually added a species of Formica out of my shop because obviously I sell Formica on my shop, and I couldn't help myself because I've wanted Formica for so long. So I've got myself a colony of Formica at the moment. I've also got a colony of Lasius flavus that I'm raising up at the moment, which I'm super excited about because I've never been I only ever tried once with flavus before. I got the first workers, they all died, and then the queen like disappeared, literally just vanished into thin air. Like she's not there, she's not in the box, she's not in the test tube, she ain't there. So yeah, that was the end of that. Apart from that, like I say, it's really just the army ants that I'd like. You like fast-growing species, but some that are not too expensive. I like species that are polymorphic and not too hard to keep. Right. Fidoli, maybe. Yeah, All Ants UK. We had the same idea at the same time. A Fidoli species would kind of suit that. Because obviously they're polymorphic, they've got their majors and their minors. They grow fairly fast, they're not too expensive. The only thing is they're quite hard to see because they are quite small. But really great colony, absolutely prolific when they get going. Yeah, Fidoli would be where I would be looking at that. So beloved, hurry your blast. No, I'm not gonna sing that, but you get what I mean. Oh yeah, who's on yeah? Who here is on TikTok? If you're on TikTok, look up Ants on a Rock because we've got TikTok now, as well as Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Discord and this and that and Twitch, and we're on everything. We're literally on everything at the moment. But yeah, so if you're on what's it called, TikTok, give us a little follow, like some of our videos. You know, it gets the channel out there a bit more. Right, so it is 11 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. Oh, hang on. We've got a question here from Stacy. Your Lasius Niger are worrying you. Seen her on her side twice and frozen, sleeping a couple of times. Had her uncovered to move and have now recovered as it worried me. Should I worry? So she looks like she's like led on her side, possibly sleeping. I wouldn't panic, but it's not necessarily great behavior. It's a hard one. Again, if you're trying to move the colony into like a new test tube and stuff, yes, you can expose them to the light and force them to move and stuff. But I just find it so much more easier to put the old tube and a new tube next to each other. Wow, that was interesting. I just saw three. Okay. Put the old tube and a new tube next to each other in a small, like, Chinese takeaway container or something, and just let them move on their own. I try not to stress them out. I try not to force anything. And then I suppose you would eventually see if the queen's healthy enough to walk between. I wouldn't worry too much. Lasius are fairly hardy. You know what I mean? If she's going to die, she's going to die, and there's not a lot you can do about it because obviously you're keeping her in the right way. I know that. It's just going to be one of those things, I think. But yeah, right. So it is 11 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. You're all absolutely amazing for signing on once again. Thank you for Intrepid Exotics for coming on and giving us an awesome interview. Thank you to everyone for joining in with the show. Thank you for my participants in the game, the Ant Warrior and Cole Patrick. You were both absolutely awesome, running about like little mad things. That was great fun. And as always, a massive thank you to Answer Us for supporting the stream. Anyone else that wants to support the stream or the channel, check out Patreon. Don't forget to check out the picnic table. Don't forget to check out everything else that's going on. If you want to get regular updates, the newsletter comes out. In fact, it's going out tomorrow because I'm running slightly late, but it comes out at the start of every month. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can on the website. If you want to get involved in the picnic table for either an interview or a game, you can do that on the website. There's loads and loads of stuff on the website. Check it out. Check out like all the different drop downs because I add stuff almost on a daily basis, and it's gonna never end. It's gonna be great fun, but we all know that, you know. So yeah, that's it from me for tonight. I shall speak to you all again on Wednesday. Thank you very much for signing in. Oh, on Wednesday we have Big Ross coming on for another interview. We have interviewed Big Ross before, so if you wanted to check that one out in the previous, then it is, if you go further back, you know what I mean. And you can also find it on Spotify and Twitch. So that's going to be great fun. We shall see you all on Wednesday. Thank you all for your great participation and your great questions and just being awesome in general. So, as always from me, I will see you again soon, Ant fans. Goodbye.